Welcome to Morning Blend. I'm Ami.
I'm Rohan.
And today we have Beggars bringing in more money than the educated, lip-locking in Bollywood, and another India brain drain.
Today, we're going to start with the University of Illinois. And a man named Niranjan Shah, a trustee of the program, admitted a family friend from India. The student had thrice been rejected by the MBA program, and Niranjan Shah managed to get him into the program.
Right, I hear that the Chicago Tribune actually found a list of 150 students from affluent high schools that had actually, gained admission through political connections.
Right, and I think we can both agree on principle that what he did was wrong.
Completely.
But my question to you is it wrong for Indians to help out other Indians?
I think so, because as Indians, there's only 6 degrees of separation. You're going to end up trying to help out everyone. We really need to go back to the basics and look at people's qualifications. You can't just help them out because they're a family friend.
Okay, the admissions process was created for a reason, so I'll give you that. Okay. But here's what I think. How did every minority group get ahead? There's no way they all got ahead on complete merit. They get ahead because you know someone that knows someone that can get you ahead and can put you one step farther up on the ladder.
Right. Well, I see your point, but at the same time, even if you know somebody, you need to be able to prove yourself. You need to have the qualifications, otherwise, it's just this kid was rejected 3 times. Does he really have the qualifications after that?
Are you saying that you don't know anyone that's helped out someone else, a family friend they barely know?
I believe they have, but maybe that person could have found someone who was better suited for that position.
All things being equal, when you're a CEO in the future and you have an Indian applicant and a non-Indian applicant, who are you going to hire?
We'll see what happens when I get there. So moving on, kissing in Bollywood. I'm sure all of you have seen the advertisements for Love Aaj Go.
I've actually seen a couple of posters for that, and their faces are inches apart.
Oh my gosh. Now, get it. This is sensual lip-locking drama that's happening.
And I am so ecstatic to finally see Bollywood catching up to the rest of the world when it comes to movies, sensuality, and basic self-expression.
I'm appalled. I want to sit down and watch these movies with my family. Don't you feel a little awkward or embarrassed? This is Bollywood. It's tradition not to kiss.
I think that it's great Bollywood is finally coming out of its shell. After all, they're acting like kids and adults, aunties, uncles, everyone doesn't kiss in real life. Let's be serious. Everyone kisses, and it's just a kiss on the lips. It's not that big a deal.
But it's so sacred in these movies. It's just, they have the caressing, they have the touching, but that kiss, that one kiss, it's so sacred.
If anything, all that caressing and whatnot is more sensual than the actual kiss. A kiss is just a peck, and it's not really a big deal.
This is why I don't watch the Hollywood movies, as much with my family. These Bollywood movies are meant for families, and even the director of Love Aaj Go, he, purposely put the kiss in the preview so that, people would know what they were getting. And he's still saying it's familial. I don't know if I agree with that, do you?
I completely agree with that.
Okay.
You see kissing every day in all parts of your life. Let's look at the outfits that these people wear in these movies. These girls are wearing these skimpy outfits.
They're definitely westernized, okay?
Exactly. If they're westernized in their actions, the way they talk, the slang, what they do, how they act, what's wrong with kissing?
Well, like it or not, this movie is coming to theaters. It's actually debuting today. So go see it if you'd like to. If kissing isn't your thing, then
definitely going to go see that movie.
All right.
Here's an interesting news piece for all our viewers. A study was done in India of the roughly 60,000 beggars, and they found that a lot of the beggars are making between 200 and 500 rupees per day. That's more than a lot of government employees get paid in India.
Get this. Some of the beggars are educated.
Right. They have degrees, master's degrees, and bachelor's degrees. My question is educated begging wrong?
Definitely. It's, cheating your way through the system. Do you think it's right or wrong?
I definitely think it's a great idea for these people that have lost their jobs due to the downturn in the economy, especially in India. India's been hit hard, and I think that they're just taking advantage of a system that gives to beggars.
Well, I think that if you're educated, you have that education for a reason. Why are you going back down the ladder when you're trying to work your way up?
Back down the ladder in terms of what? Pay? Not really. They're making the same or more than some of their brethren in jobs.
Right, but they have had this education for a reason. They need to use it. They need to apply it, even though, the economy isn't meant for these jobs.
Okay, they learned an education that's book smarts.
Okay.
They have to provide for their family, so they're begging and taking advantage of the system. That's called street smarts.
All right.
Delhi has promised to rid the city of beggars by October 2010. Let's see how that goes.
I don't think it's realistic.
We're all familiar with the H-1B visa program. It's a program where the government gives out about 85,000 visas per year, and you're allowed to apply for H-1B status, which means you have a specialized knowledge in a particular field, usually meaning computer science, medicine, engineering, biotech, or law. And recently, the government has been asking for tons more information from IT companies or companies that hire H-1Bs. Particularly, this is hitting the Indian community hard. The number of H-1Bs applications has dropped off. Number of people accepted into the program has dropped off. And it's just pretty out of the blue. Do you think this is fair?
Yes, I actually think it's fair. You know, the H-1B has been abused for, I think, a long time right now. And it's said that 1 in 5 applications is actually found to be fraudulent. I can see why the government is trying to crack down on this.
All right. I mean, I read that statistic too, and I have to give that to you there.
Okay.
But the H-1B program is the bread and butter of the Indian community. How many of aunties and uncles do you know that are lawyers, doctors, computer scientists, engineers, or work in IT firms? Sounds like everyone, right?
Right, my family.
Exactly. So don't you think they're kind of taking away one of the biggest assets of our community?
No, I mean, I think that you are correct in your argument, but at the same time, the government is just trying to decrease the number of fraudulent cases, and as well, like, you know, we need to give these jobs and opportunities to the U.S. workers here. You know, look at our economy.
Maybe, but the U.S. workers aren't the ones that are coming up with the science and math degrees. It's the people from overseas and the Asian communities, especially the Indian community, that's filling the gap that America needs. So if the Immigration and Citizenship Bureau is clamping down on IT firms, don't you think that ultimately the American economy is the one that loses out in the end?
All right, well, maybe this gives an opportunity for American students to rise to the occasion and go into the maths and sciences. Moving on to a now related topic is an article published recently in the Times of India says that more Indian students are studying abroad, maybe about 500,000 this past year.
Right.
So do you think that all these students going abroad, is it really going to be a problem in India?
Yes. I think India should be so worried about this. Let's just look at a basic fact. What does it take to go to school overseas? No matter what country you're in, what does it take to go to school overseas?
Money.
It takes money. Not only does it take money, oftentimes it takes power and influence to get your kid into a top school in a country where they've never lived. They don't know anyone except that one admissions person. If India is sending all these kids overseas, doesn't that kind of translate to it's sending its richest and most connected people out of the country?
Right, but who does that leave left in India? It leaves the middle class. You know, these kids are just as smart, they can achieve just as much, and they're being given the opportunity to.
I think that India needs to realize that the best and the brightest are leaving the country. Let's take, for example, the 1970s. Okay. We're all a product of this, a lot of us here in America, where a ton, more than a quarter, I think it is, of the top students in the country from India, all their higher institution schools, graduated, left the country, got top jobs here, and have lived here ever since.
Right, but a lot of these students nowadays that are going to the U.S. and other countries to study, they're actually coming back after 4 years.
Maybe, I don't know. That's not a statistic that we can track. 500,000 kids, that's a statistic we can track. 55 countries, that's a statistic we can track. Over 100,000, 1/5 of them, are coming to the United States.
But is India doing any worse? Are these middle-class students not rising to the occasion? Are they not achieving just as much?
I would argue that the future of the global economy is East meets West. And India is just doing the let's go and send all our students to the West rather than bridging the gap. I think they should incentivize kids to stay, their top kids to go into higher institution schools in the country. They should create more higher institutions of learning, maybe more IITs, different things like that. Keep the best and the brightest in your country. That's the only way you're going to get ahead.
They still have such a large population in India. You know, shoveling out a couple thousand is really going to help the ones that are still there.
They're basically skimming off the cream of the crop. I don't know how that's going to work for them later down the road.
You know, recent trends show that more graduate students are going back to India after they complete their studies here.
For India's sake, I really hope you're right. Thanks for watching today's show. We appreciate your comments and any suggestions you have for the show. Please email them to darshan@darshantv.com.
And we'll see you in a couple of weeks.